Volodymyr Zelensky will reportedly travel to the US to meet with Donald Trump this week to firm up terms of a reported rare minerals deal. Joining me now for more on this is Ukraine's ambassador to Australia, Vasyl Myroshnychenko. Ambassador, thank you for your time. It's always great to see you again. How do you expect this meeting to go?
I'm positive about the outcomes of this meeting. As you know, it was part of Ukraine's victory plan that was presented to Donald Trump last year, which included an invitation from the U.S. to invest in the development of our critical minerals. And the negotiations has been ongoing for the past 2 weeks. And it looks like we are getting the deal that we want. And both President Trump and President Zelensky have indicated that they will soon meet to finalize it and sign it.
Is it the deal that Ukraine wants, or is it because of the pressure strategy here by President Trump?
It's a deal that Ukraine wants. It was part of our victory plan. That was point number 4 in the victory plan presented globally and internationally. And of course, those were some of the conditions were initially set forth by the U.S. side, which were unacceptable to Ukraine. They've now been removed, which specifically includes 50% of the revenue from the operating oil and gas companies. So this agreement will include only the future revenue from the new investments and new developments will come. Also, the $500 billion that was mentioned in the original draft has also been taken down. Also, we had to actually moderate and change the tax to meet the requirements of our constitution and make sure that our sovereign rights are in place. So you know, this is how talks are done, and this is where we are getting. And by the way, I think that the fact that this agreement most likely will be signed soon, it opens up opportunities for Australian businesses, especially for Australian mining companies. And I would be pleased to talk more about it to them, because I believe that many American companies will need the expertise of the Australian mining companies to come find those critical minerals and rare earth minerals, find them, and then also invest jointly with Americans in extracting and processing them to meet the needs of Europe and meet the needs of America.
Ambassador, we'll get to Australia's impact in just a moment, but I mean, many people have been critical of Donald Trump's approach here. But could this actually pave the way to peace, this meeting on Friday?
As you know, it was due to American and British leadership that we were able to create a coalition of countries supporting Ukraine. And Australia joined right away 3 years ago. And that support that has been driven by those 50 nations included the military assistance, which was crucial for us to survive. And this is how we're able to defend ourselves. And at the end of the day, we're working together with the U.S., with Europe, on finding a way for peace. And the peace is possible only when we can have some security guarantees, and also if we can have a serious conventional deterrent against any future Russian aggression.
So after this meeting on Friday, do you foresee, in the discussions that you're having behind closed doors, do you foresee that this will bring an end to the conflict?
It's only the beginning of the negotiations, because there are many different elements which are involved. This is step number 1. Step number 2 needs to include security guarantees. And security guarantees come with NATO membership, or they come with building NATO within Ukraine. And that could be achieved through strong military, through proper air defense systems, availability of long-range missiles, or presence of a NATO Navy in the Black Sea. We need some security guarantees to make sure. But most importantly, Ukrainians want justice. Ukrainians want to see Russia held accountable for the numerous war crimes, crimes against humanity, for all the damage that they've done to Ukraine. And this is what Ukrainians want more than anybody else.
What do you make of Keir Starmer seemingly siding with Trump here on defence? I mean, his policies being influenced by his upcoming meeting with Donald Trump. It's hard not to draw those two lines.
U.S. call on Europe spending more money on defence is the right call. And I believe that was a wake-up cold shower, in a way, after the Munich Security Conference for many European nations. And I think that will prompt some action, and that will increase the spending that European governments make on defense. And particularly, Britain has already committed to increasing their spending from 2.2% of the GDP to 2.5 until 2030. Germany will follow suit, and will have also the new incoming chancellor will have to make the same commitment. We see how other European leaders are reacting to that. So taking care of security in Europe, because we're talking about security in Europe. Europe must be involved in negotiations with Russia, same as Ukraine, and we're all working together. You see, this is just many talks happening, lots of noise, but we have to see through that. We have to focus on deliverables and on the results.
I mean, it's going to be a tense meeting, that's for sure. I mean, Donald Trump just earlier today mentioned that the US has spent $350 billion on the war here. He's been critical of Volodymyr Zelensky. He called him a dictator. He also claimed that Ukraine started the war. I mean, are you certain, or how certain are you, that the US will keep up its side of the deal here on those US security guarantees that you speak about?
It's also important to look at the numbers. Actually, as a matter of fact, Europe has provided more assistance to Ukraine. If you look at the EU contribution, plus add Switzerland, UK and Norway to that, you will see that Europe has actually provided more assistance to Ukraine. As a matter of fact, a lot of that money was actually spent on the US weapons and the procurement there. Of course, the contribution from the US was significant, but it was not the largest one. So, as I said, Europe is a much bigger contributor. But it does matter in this particular case. Definitely, American commitment to Europe is essential for the security in Europe. So, therefore, we will be just working on making sure that also Ukraine can make a contribution to the defense of Europe. Currently, we have one of the most developed defense industries, and we can become a backbone of the European defense industries. We are currently the biggest manufacturer of drones in the world, and we can provide those drones even to Australia, because we've now become the leading country in terms of innovation, development, technology in the drone space.
Ambassador, we have run out of time, unfortunately. Thank you so much for coming on today. And of course, as you mentioned before, this rare minerals deal could have a significant impact on Australia too. And that's part of why, or your role indeed. But we always appreciate you coming on. And 3 years on from this conflict, a significant time. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.